My penis was oscillating between extremely sensitive and borderline traumatized.
This one's wife. Security. Why bother? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The seller of spread has arrived in New York City with her husband in tow. My husband, as she possessively refers to him, objectifying him as usual. This one's wife and Harry turned up in a Range Rover. I understand they were part of another 4-car cavalcade, and security accompanied them. Indeed, courtesy of page 6, we were able to see their arrival at the venue as they exited the vehicle, and security ensured that they were kept safe. Let's have a look, first of all, at the footage to assess the security risk to these two individuals.
Meghan, can you stop here?
Can I get a selfie, Meghan?
Meghan, can you stop here? I told you, it's the time. I'm leaving. I'm out. Nope, I'm up in I guess she gave it up, right? She gave it up, but she just... Meghan, can you stop here?
Can I get a selfie, Meghan?
Meghan, can you stop here? I told you, it's the time. I'm leaving. I'm out. Nope, I'm up in I guess she gave it up, right? She gave it up, but she just...
Goodness me! As soon as I saw the throngs gathered there to greet the Duchess of Delusion and her ginger poodle, it made me think of when the Beatles returned to London Airport, I think in 1964. They were met with throngs of screaming and adoring fans. It put me in mind of March 1990, when Depeche Mode fans near rioted at Warehouse Records in Los Angeles. It was utter chaos, wasn't it? Except it wasn't. Yes, here comes the Duchess of Industrial Beige, and thank the Lord that security in the grey suit was armed with, well, handily enough, 2 arms. Thank goodness he was able to stretch them out to ensure that the Invisible Man and his family were kept back from the Duchess of Delusion and the Prince of Pink Pancakes. It could have been a disaster. Look at all of those middle-aged white women ready to throw tomatoes at the gruesome twosome. It's a good job that there was a guy in a grey suit sticking out his arms to ensure that they were protected. It's laughable, isn't it? As you just witnessed. They arrive, and this one's wife exits and immediately goes over to hug somebody who actually works for her. So why you feel the need to hug that individual? Well, I'll tell you. It's because that person has appeared immediately on her radar as a non-intimate secondary source. She needs to assert control over her. Her narcissism utilizes, in effect, a Hoover, the first assertion of control direct, and she does so by physical means. She's an employee. You shouldn't really go around hugging employees. But that doesn't matter because of this one's wife's sense of entitlement. Accordingly, she hugs this individual who works for her, making it look like she's an adoring fan that has turned up, because it's all part of the facade management that this one's wife engages in. Harry doesn't get much of a look in. More about that in a separate video. And we see Grey Suit Man doing his level best to hold back the throngs. He's doing a brilliant job. See how he ably lifts his arms either side of him and corrals the street-sweeping, overlarge, pant-wearing Duchess of Delusion into the building. She just has time to wave at somebody who's waiting to walk along the sidewalk or pavement on our side of the Atlantic. Naturally, this one's wife, thinking she's hugely popular, waves, and it's hilarious because as the camera pans around, you see 2 women thinking, who the fuck are they? I'm trying to walk here. I'm walking here, as Dustin Hoffman once memorably announced. And in they go into the building, followed by various men in suits who are part of their security detail to ensure that they are protected. Because as the camera pans back across, we see the rampaging hordes of, disinterested individuals who are looking at their phones saying, thank goodness we can now actually cross over the street. We don't have to be subjected to these two non-entities. Page 6 got the footage, and it is hugely entertaining because it demonstrates that once again this one's wife turns up in the old blacked out SUV. There were other SUVs, as you could have seen in the footage, that were parked up. That the security detail of man in grey suit and several other men wearing suit jackets turns up. There's probably at least 3, maybe 4 of them, in addition to man in light grey suit. And nobody was impressed. Nobody was shouting out in terms of excitement. There were a couple of members of the press pack that were calling out this one's wife's name, but beyond that, that's it. So why does she bother? There's no security risk there whatsoever. The only people that are gathered there are people who are walking down the street. Nobody has turned up to anticipate their arrival because nobody's really interested in them. There's certainly nobody there who wishes them any kind of harm. Indeed, that's overstated by the paranoia of this one's wife's narcissism to make her believe that she's important. There's lots of people who don't like her, but they wouldn't be moved to actually do anything against her in terms of physically attack her or even bother to turn up and shout insults at her. But her self-absorption and her paranoia tells her that that is what would happen. She turns up with the security detail because she is the main character. This is what her narcissism does. It causes her to not only believe that there is a security threat because there are those raging haters out there, the swivelly-eyed bigots with their foam-flecked mouths who are ready to do evil against her, but also that she anticipates there's going to be thousands of adoring fans turning up and therefore some form of crowd control is necessary. She turns up with the 4-car cavalcade and the security detail to make a splash. It's a form of provocation. It's there so it can be filmed, it can be photographed, and then it can be splashed across the media to make it look like she's important. Ordinarily, the photographs that are released are done from a tight angle, so you can't see the absence of the crowds. But this footage, which presumably was either given to Page 6 or they obtained it themselves using their journalists, demonstrates that there was nobody there, that the only people were an Archwell employee, somebody working for the venue, security detail, and passers-by. And those passers-by, as you can see by their reactions, were utterly nonplussed at the arrival of this one's wife and Harry. They were just going about their day. They were walking across the street, not bothered at all by who it was that was in front of them. But this one's wife's narcissism, her sense of importance and superiority, allied with the paranoia, causes her to create this image of importance and threat by having the 4-car cavalcade and the security detail when there's actually no need for it. And here, the footage exposes that, demonstrating that there was nobody there who was interested in them, either in terms of adoration or even less likely with regard to threat. When this one's wife exits the vehicle, she isn't actually comprehending that there's hardly anybody there. She goes into an automatic mode, as you saw. She just waves because she thinks that people are interested. And therefore what her narcissism will tell her, it won't say, oh, this is disappointing, there aren't hundreds and thousands of people to greet you. Instead, oh look, there are people there, wave at them, in order to assert control over them in a benign fashion. The narcissism tells her that the passers-by are there to see her, therefore wave at them. There was a complete lack of response from the two ladies that were stood there, because they were probably thinking, no idea who that is, don't care, they're making me late for my hair appointment, or whatever it is that they are on their way to do. But this one's wife's narcissism tells her that she is important, that they are there to see her, and doesn't register that there's so few people, because it happens in a moment. She has the flurry of activity around her, making her feel important, and then she's into the next moment. The fact that hundreds and thousands of people didn't turn up is rejected by her narcissism. It isn't allowed to register with her, and then she's into the next moment when she goes into the building. This one's wife makes it seem like she needs security, and this piece of footage demonstrates that she doesn't. And the actual fact, This piece of footage is quite interesting because it shows, when it comes to this one's wife, she hasn't got legions of adoring fans as she believes, and nor does she have a cohort of individuals that are there to do her harm. The fact is, when it comes to this one's wife, most of the world simply isn't interested and doesn't care about her. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching.